Now, I love this story. New national policing guidance has said that officers should prioritise attending the scene of a domestic break-in within an hour of the report to help increase the chance of solving the case. I.e. turning up a week later isn't going to do any good, really, is it? According to the most recent Home Office figures, no suspect is identified in 3/4 of all residential break-ins in England and Wales, with someone charged in less than 4% of cases. We've basically decriminalised it, haven't we? But do you have faith in the police? I mean, not just burglary, with everything. I mean, some parts of the country, in London, for example, sexual assaults and rape attacks, I mean, barely register with getting reported, with prosecutions, almost decriminalised. To me, it's a mess, but what do you think? So let's go to my wonderful panellists, see what I think of this. Aaron, I'm going to come to you first on this one. Have you lost faith in the police? I mean, you know, this is the second headline in a year where we've had police told to do their job shop.
It's absolutely crazy, isn't it? You know, there's a conversation within the left about police abolition, and what's interesting is in the UK, they've voluntarily done it in large parts of the country already. It is fascinating, and it's the little stuff that really counts. So on burglary, what's particularly interesting is that burglary is much less of a problem now than it was 30, 40 years ago. And my inference, therefore, from that is the police have made an operational decision that it just doesn't really matter as much anymore, so we might really treat it like a crime. But, of course, if your house is burgled, that's not how you feel. You pay your taxes for the police to uphold the law. And so I think this is really an open admission that that approach hasn't worked. The solving, sort of crime being solved generally is incredibly low. Particularly for burglary, however, there are some pilots which suggest this approach works. And I have zero confidence in the police. What I find fascinating is, you know, we've had a Tory government for 13 years. And I'm not blaming the Tories, but we've had a Tory government for 13 years who talk so tough on crime. And you keep on having Home Secretaries who come in and I'm going to take this by the scruff of the neck. Nobody does anything. It just gets worse. It's all talk. And I'm really curious as to what a political solution to that looks like.
That's a very good point, isn't it, Alex? I mean, it's like, what has gone wrong? Are prisons too soft? I mean, is it lack of funding? Is it lack of officers? Is it lack of decent organisation? Well, where do you even start with this?
I think Aaron is right to the extent that it's an operational decision to deprioritise burglary investigations. That's certainly a part of it. When you get as low as 4% charging rates for burglaries, of course, the conviction rate will be far lower than that.
Yes.
So we're effectively, in large parts of the country, we're not being policed for burglary at all. My increasingly antique experience of prosecuting and defending criminal cases, I both prosecuted and defended some burglary cases, and in part, Aaron is right that offending rates have declined, is that the stuff you can get in someone's house has declined in value. A TV used to be worth stealing, now it's not, and so forth. So there is a part of that, but it is to vitally underplay the importance of the sense of personal fear and violation of your home when it's broken into.
This is the point, I think. All of these statistics, you can read the statistics out till you're blue in the face, but burglary is actually, I mean, many people watching this statistics will have been burgled, and it's absolutely horrific. Yeah. You do feel like you've been violated.
That's correct, and that's why I think this policy is a good idea, not least because if you do turn up a week later, anyone who has seen anything is likely to have forgotten it. Anyone who might have had footage on their doorbell or wherever may have lost it or have gone away, and families being as they are, you're going to move stuff around in your house given a week or two's passage of time. You're not going to have left everything ready for fingerprinting, or, heaven forbid, if you get the opportunity to have fingerprinting done, a week or two later there's no point. So police attending within an hour is vital for investigative purposes as well as for the moral purpose of trying to solve burglary.
Well, of course, absolutely. But this is the annoying thing with this, Aaron, isn't it? It's like, you know, it is like, you know, you will be there within an hour, but if they can't do it because there's not enough of them, or they're busy sitting at the station filing out the piles of paperwork they seem to have these days.
Well, that's part of it. There aren't enough police officers, and obviously staffing cuts and whatnot haven't helped really since 2010. We have seen a significant issue with regards to crimes being solved since 2010. Initially, it wasn't so much of a problem, but after a certain period of cuts, it really did kick in. And I think that's a big part of it. But also, look, I mean, I came on this show, I was speaking to Martin Daubney a few months ago. I got assaulted in the street for my political views on my...
You're joking?
Yeah, where I live. And fortunately, I could restrain the guy. He wasn't particularly big. It was a bit of a surprise he tried, but whatever.
What did they try and do?
Punch me.
Just literally walked up to you in the street and punched
my
you?
name, used the C word, rather impolite of him. Punched me. I managed to sort of punch him a few times, restrained him. Another chap was there, very helpful. We had him pinned on the floor. I said to some people over the street, call the police. The police come. The police were dawdling around. Originally, one person comes. And I'm thinking, if this was a man assaulting a woman, or if there weren't two men here, this guy could just run off.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, you know, they come, he gets arrested, caution.
And that was it?
Conditional caution. And so this is literally on the road I live on. He said my name. They said, well, he said he doesn't know you. And it's just, look, I don't want the guy to even be punished necessarily, but I want contrition, and I want to feel that there's a process there where somebody who's done something wrong knows they've done something wrong, and there are real-time consequences for them. And let's be real, there aren't. And that's not a Labour-Tory issue. There aren't. This is a major social issue, I think, and it gets the very sort of fabric of who we are as a society. And it doesn't mean I'm a hang 'em and flog 'em type. I'm not. But you need to think the police can. You need to think that the police can address crime, because if they don't, what's the point of them?
There is a real truth to that, because when the police should be reassuring to the law-abiding and pretty terrifying to the law-breaking. And when you are attacked like that, you want the police to attend very quickly and to look like they could do something about it that was carrying on. Instead, we've got policemen, I know both of you are much more active in the media than I am, so you may work for this publication. We've got policemen who swan around looking like they're the paramilitary wing of The Guardian, festooned with sort of paramilitary kit, hands forever stuffed inside for warmth inside something. And a lot of them look, and I would too, I'm not taking a high ground, looking like they'd fail any fitness test you ask them to take. Now, there are plenty of long-serving coppers who are aghast at that. I'm not having a go at the police force. There's plenty. In your broader question, do you have faith in the police? I have faith that the majority of officers, vast majority, join for the right reasons, want to be good coppers, want to police without fear or favour, right? And those policemen will look at the ineffectual people we have now going door knocking because of something you tweeted, or listening to their bosses saying, let's go and paint the squad car in political rhetoric colours, and think, what are we doing?
We just, surely, all you want, and when we say, have you faith in the police? I mean, you know, obviously you're two chaps, but as a woman, I mean, you know, your attack sounds awful, Aaron, but as a woman being attacked on the street, a lot, or heaven forbid, sexually assaulted, a lot of the time women will not report that because they're worried about being treated like they are in some way responsible for a man's behaviour.
And why would you have faith in it being addressed properly if the conviction statistics are so low?
It is just horrendous. But the thing is there a problem? I mean, look, I don't want ordinary coppers on the beat out there. You work damn hard and it's a really, really tough job. This is not having a go at you. But is there a problem with the way the force now is organised, Erin? I mean, is it? I mean, you know, Alex has alluded to the fact that it can be a bit woke now. You know, they're going to thought crime, it's not crime, is it? But people thinking the wrong way, putting something on Twitter, when they're not out there getting burglars.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a part of it. I mean, I saw some guys, they had a mobile phone at a football match, and there was a young child, I think it was a Sunderland fan, who died, and they were taunting Sunderland fans by holding...
Saw that, yep.
Awful, obviously awful people, but the idea that... I don't even know what they'd be arrested for, frankly, or charged with, but the fact that this is somehow being actioned by the police as something urgent because it's on social media with 2,000 retweets, let's be frank, somebody being burgled or being assaulted in the street or sexually assaulted is far more...
Infinitely more serious.
So I think there is something here. I think there is a big part of the problem. It's not the whole problem, which is that the police and other institutions have just become Twitter-brained. They think if it's on Twitter and it's got lots of retweets, it must be really important. Yeah. And sometimes you have to have that filter and you say, well, actually it isn't. Yeah. Actually, it's not that big a deal.
You asked Aaron whether it's something to do with the way the police is organised. It is in part, I think, because we are increasingly policing the way we seek to address fires. In policing, it's very good to be proactive, investigating and visible. When you're putting out fires, you wait for the call to come and then you go and deal with it. That's how we're encouraging our police force to work now. And when you do go out, you go in a car, generally speaking, not being seen on the street and not being seen by the people. Well, this is the thing.
I mean, I still remember the name of my childhood Bobby.
Yeah, me too.
PC Harding. If you're still around, I'm not sure you are, but you did a good job.
PC Roger Depper in Bury St Edmunds. I remember him in music.
See, kids today won't know that, will they?
No chance.
OK, police chiefs are telling officers they must attend burglaries within an hour, but none of us seem to believe that, do we?